taking existing files so existing part files for the frame, the plates and whatnot, the hinge, and actually mating them as an assembly. So mating them, blueprinting them, and then assembling the entire thing. Pretty much like as if a company gave us existing parts in their catalog, in their CAD catalog or whatever, and said to make the assembly from these existing parts. Kind of like Lego. Like if Lego told you to grab the blocks and then assemble them as whatever the final product is. That's how I understand it, at least. Yep. So it's going to be laser cut, then CNC bent, and then finally assembled by us.
When did you guys assemble the printers?
Today.
Oh yeah? In the morning?
Yeah.
So what is this first print?
This is a little calibration cube, so it kind of gives me a feeling for where everything's printing dimensionally.
You can change that.
These look a little newer than the ones you guys usually get, right? What's the difference between this one and the previous model?
You got dual Z on this one. You got the direct drive already installed and the Sierra Touch and the magnetic bed.
That a little easier.
The other one's just set on the box.
Yep, it's the bottom. So that hex on the bottom, actually.
We did.
So even something like that will affect.
Oh yeah, you'll see it in the print. You'll have these weird lines or variations in it, and there's nothing that's going to point to it and say, hey, here's your problem.
Yeah.
You just have to know all of these things affect everything in here affects your print. So that's why we try to make everything as flat as possible.
The goal of this week, what are we learning?
So we're testing out of CNC millwork right now, and then we're gonna head into sheet metal and start designing with sheet metal and learning how to bend on the press brakes.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna print it out of a silky PLA. The bad guys are gonna be black, and I'm gonna do this in bronze.
What do you got printed over here?
Samurai mask.
Is that for you?
Yeah.
You sound bummed about it.
I'm on my third print, so hopefully this one turns out good.
What's up, vloggers? Benefit for taking aluminum?
Yeah.
MIG welding is fine for structural stuff. TIG welding, you can do a lot more finite, like fine-tuned stuff, like what these guys are doing on these bases for building like dashboards, center consoles. You can build like intercoolers, intercooler piping, intakes through your cars. There's all different kinds of uses for aluminum TIG.
How do you know when the bend is right?
If you come from this side, you can see how my gap is lining up. You can see how my bottom half is lining up pretty good. I'm just slowly finding the radius of this top half right now. I'll know when it's right when the gap is closed.
This week we're doing a vlog, so be yourselves.
I was good, shouty.
What's left?
We gotta finish welding all our like joints and stuff, And then we have a few like sheet metal inlays that we gotta weld in too. But yeah, we're almost done.
Okay. What do you like more, this or the roll cage project?
Definitely this. A lot more creativity. And there's more like different ways to do it. Like ours is like a flat bar, but then theirs, they roll their top. And it's just like little things like that that make it more like enjoyable and creative.
Nice. You want to make a bike when you're out of here? You think you
For
make your
sure,
own?
yeah, 100%.
Is there a assigned welder on the team?
No, we're all taking turns welding.
Who's the best out of the group?
We don't have the best. We're all kind of still learning, so.
Cop out.
Yeah.
Who's the best welder in the team?
Say it, Kevin. Come on, now the camera's on.
When I blow my nose, I don't know if it's because from welding, but black stuff comes out when I blow out my boogers.
Is it only on days when you weld?
Yeah, when I
Probably just way too close to that shit.
That's probably
Yeah, you like it.
probably. But like I said, I like the smell, to be honest.
We're letting our resin cool down. This was a wet layup for the carbon light switch. So we're letting the resin cool down, make sure it's all hard before we pull it out of our mold.
This is like the scientific way of doing it.
Yeah, it's extremely scientific. This is what NASA does actually. And SpaceX.
So now you want to right click your default. So you make a new derived configuration. Add derived configuration. Yes. Now you're going to do your unfolded net configuration. Then you're going to go back to your default and save it in your default. And your blueprint, you can use that derived configuration.
So what's this egg thing?
It's a trophy for my fantasy football team.
Sick. That's gonna be the first thing you print?
Yeah, it's gonna be.
What about you, man? What's your first print over here?
First one was the handle for the machine.
Nice.
Or is that the cat?
Yo.
And I just did this one. This one took like 30 minutes.
Is that a Bitcoin?
Yeah. It's one that came with it preloaded.
What was your experience like first time running this printer?
It's pretty fun. No, it's pretty simple too. Once you get to know it.
You ever 3D printed before?
No.
Every thickness and sheet, every radius has its own K factor. K factor is what SolidWorks uses to account for your material spread. Modern press brakes also do that for you. So what happens is you either have to choose one or the other. Normally, because we're designing SolidWorks, we're just going to use the K factor in SolidWorks and then zero out the press brake. I have
Hey, you take the tape off. I'm right here, bro. Yeah, take that tape off. Make it not look.
And be honest, whose is better?
Obviously the green cab. Come on now, just check out the body lines, the contour lines.
White cab all day.
Yeah, it's white wood. And the green one was a scrap monster.
Yeah.
No Bentec. No Bentex, scrap monsters.
Sure. Hey, look at that.
Right out.
There's resin in it.
There's gotta
Does that
be.
mean we can fix it by...
Of course, we can fix everything. The closet's always fixable. So just make sure your pucks are out of there.
Yeah, they're...
So you don't throw them away.
void.
And then
Most likely from your...
now what we'll do is we will. And after we lay the pre-preg, we're gonna go trim these.
Got a paintbrush in
You
it.
can trim them now. And then we'll lay
Trash. Junk.
Yeah. You'll take that blade and you'll run the blade right up against that scrap line. Just like that. And then these we'll drill 2 holes, and then we'll connect the dots, and then we'll take the pencil
several years, maybe forever, because as we've brought in those mechanical designers, they've been so valuable. We want to find the right person to fill in that role and take that on. The third position that's not up here, and I didn't bring handouts, is a mechanical design position. So opposite 410, so it's like we want to be on site, working all the time that they're working. So.
Did you get the toilet? What toilet? I didn't realize it was a toilet. Oh my god. And it has a seat.
Right here, this water filter, fish tank.
Oh.
Built it based off of this.
For your fishies at home?
Yeah.
Custom glow in the dark.
Yeah, and it's glow in the dark.
These fishes are being spoiled, huh?
Oh yeah.
First, let's see, what is that measurement? 89. 89, awesome. And then what would half of it be? 44.5. Good job.
If you don't remember on what you're gonna get graded on, you guys could refer on your grading sheet here and look it over, basically grade it yourself and see if it's up to par. Page 52, you have a parts list. All right, that's basically the one that we need to do first. So the parts list, what we're doing is creating a cut list on the frame first. So the welding bench requires a frame of some sort, and then it has a bench top, and then it's gonna have a backsplash on there. All right. So we're trying to utilize as much as we can on the material. So keeps boss man happy, right? Wherever you work at, or if you're working for yourself, right? You wanna save material, save money. So when you hand this sheet to someone, to one of your workers, or you're handing it to someone that's gonna cut this out for you, they read the name and then they go to the material. Okay, that's using 1.5 inch, 4130 chromoly, 090, right? It's specifying what the size of the material and the type, right? Mild steel, aluminum. So that's where you would write that down.
I just want to say something before I leave. One thing that I've noticed with some that don't quite understand what this means, it's this tube here, this is what that means. That's what that shape looks like. So these all will have their wing on it when they're done being cut.
Yes. Yeah.
And just we don't put that in there for the simplicity of making the drawing look a little bit more simple.
Careful, because you're good there, but we're still a little high on this side. So let's reference again with the file and just see where we're sitting. You're pretty close, it's just these two are kind of even. They're just high on,
These two are even, but we gotta go down to this level.
down to
now.
that level. But at least they're even. Remember before they were all twisted.
This one's the
now we're
lowest,
flat.
I think, huh?
It is. So just mark.
That's my low.
That's your low. And so know that you're gonna meet, all of this is gonna meet up to that height.
Maybe now I need to wrap this around and bring it back.
This piece, yeah, one piece that's coming this way, and then the start of this one.
You're doing what you're doing.
That's like you bend like that, just that much, and then use a whole straight.
Can I use that?
For this? So you get a straight.
Well, the way I see it is, I clamp it in a vise.
These are straights.
Yeah, so this would be part of that straight of the one you this
Of this
section.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
And then on this one,
That would be the rest of it. And you can just pick and choose whether or not where it ends, or you can even cut it back a little bit so I have it right at the end of the bend and then add to add that much. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
There's a lot of teamwork going on over here.
Orange tubes are ice manufacturing fabrication blocks, so it allows you to fab up and kind of mock up the geometry and the kind of bends of your exhaust. And then what you do is then you take those apart, and then you kind of match the bends to a jig. So let's say if I need this section, right, or I need like, a different bend. I could kind of match it up. The tubing, after I mock it up, can get the exact angle that I need.
Maybe.
Right, like if I need to cut it right here, if we mock something up, and the sections looks like this, and we know exactly where we need to cut it. So it's accurate, but it also helps with production and making sure that you have the same kind of continuity throughout your production line if you're making something over. These things are valuable.
What's going on, man?
Oh, they're just
And they're so long, I don't want to move
taking a
them
part out that got stuck in the pallet. What not to do. Yeah, is that it? Oh, two more. This was Hugo. I wasn't here. I was not present for this. Oh, I know what. You guys were probably placing the parts and they fell in here.
Yeah. Well, actually it was here. And
Oh, they're here and they-
I was making like a tower and then
they fell in.
Yeah.
How's it been so far?
Pretty good. I'm learning a lot. Kind of a hard project, but
You come into any challenges so far?
yeah, I took a break from welding aluminum, and it's definitely kind of humbling getting back into it. But we're figuring it out.
I'd probably say Dirty Dino.
He said you had the best base. How do you feel about that?
Honor, man. Hell yeah.
There's like a second thing you can do to it by adding a return. So instead of seeing like the penetration in your return weld, you can add this and it'll kind of clean it all up so it looks a lot nicer. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I didn't clean up the outside yet because I'm gonna have to fluff this out when I weld it around. So I'm gonna wait to get this all finished up until I finish doing this.
What are we learning right now?
Start that with Nemo.
What are we learning right now?
Oh, we're just going over some exhaust stuff. They're building headers, so just a little bit more information for them.
I like the decorations. Is this your idea?
This is all Nick.
Order builder spec, yes. So I have to try to achieve all this, knowing that my collector is going to be, again, like I tack my collector, right, up here.
Because when I had this rock crawler, and the only motor that I could find as replacement was from like this race shop, So I got this race motor and all the where the studs bolted into the head for the exhaust studs. He was like, well, this head's more expensive because it's got helicoils in it, so you don't rip the studs out when you start torquing it down. But it was like a special kind of helicoil. I don't know. Is it pretty dangerous?
Yeah, there's. It depends on if it was done right. I mean, there's multiple types of thread inserts. Yeah, thread inserts.
Oh, okay.
So we would do it on these guys too. So you'll have aluminum, and I would, because of the high heat. So
that's crazy.
It's a different type of.
Oh, that's fancy. Yeah.
So you can see, obviously, that's why we replaced. It's just.
Oh, we're trying to there's a gap right here in our piece, so we're trying to like level it out so it's all flush. It all comes together in one piece and don't have that gap.
Got it? Let's see. Are you proud of how far they've come?
Oh yeah, they're doing great. They've learned a lot. They're going to be great fabricators when they're done here.
Who has the best bike?
I would have to say the bike on the right-hand side over there.
Thank you, Daniel.
No gappage.
Oh.
Get her tacked up. Yeah, let's go.
The only gap.
Can you explain to me what's going on here with the aluminum foil and this big cylinder?
We're filling the cylinder with argon to protect the inside of the well from the atmosphere air. Just make it clean.
And what's the cylinder for? Is this for the bike or?
No, it's just practice, stainless exhaust. Just getting the hang of it, trying to figure it out. Everybody's getting a shot at it.
Nice.
We're baking cake.